Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And, I've been talking about this for quite some time that, in fact, unfortunately, Harvey Weinstein's going to walk. That the Me Too movement was really a joke. It was about selective enforcement. It wasn't real in many, many respects. And unfortunately, it it really is going to be shameful what happens here 100% of the time. 100% of the time. And that's really unfortunate, guys. And what do I mean by that? Well, I've been telling you that, first of all, some of these people that came forward, right? Some of them that came forward, right? They weren't telling the whole truth. They went back for seconds, thirds, dozens of times. That when the whole movement was moving the goalpost towards going after like Aziz Ansari for having a bad date and never focusing on the child predators out there, like Bryan Singer, I knew the fix was in. This was all about managing a situation and PR, period. Managing a situation and PR so somehow not only could you confuse juries, but you could actually make people feel sympathetic to the victimizers and not so much the victims. So let's look at Harvey Weinstein in this piece here, because there's a lot I agree with and a lot I don't agree with, and it shows you how the media spin's going to be here. First of all, Harvey Weinstein, old man in a walker. I mean, what does that remind me of? It reminds me of Dennis Hassert when he was rolling around in a wheelchair after he was labeled a serial pedophile by a judge, yet he did no jail time for pedophilia whatsoever. Had been molesting children, allegedly, since he was a gym teacher and a wrestling coach, alleged to have raped a fourth grader, a 10-year-old in a bathroom in that school. Do you think that stops as you become more and more powerful, as you become the Speaker of the House? I got news for you. It doesn't stop. That's not what happens. Predator's gonna predator. And I want to break this down because, again, she tells a lot of truth here, and then she spins a lot of lies. And we're definitely going to get into those lies, especially surrounding Black Cube and the intelligence services that were used. I mean, you could call them private intelligence services, but give me a break. I mean, these are former IDF, they're Israeli Mossad, and they became the personal army of Harvey Weinstein, period. You can spin that any way you want, but that's the truth. The trial of Harvey Weinstein has provided ample evidence that he is a grotesque pig lacking empathy for the many women he preyed upon, but probably not enough to prove he should be convicted as a rapist. You see, you can go around and whip your erect penis out in the middle of anywhere, jerk off into a plant or other places, make people watch. No big deal. No big deal. Prepare for an acquittal or a deadlock after the jury goes out Tuesday. And I agree with this. 100% agree with this. Get ready, guys. Because anyone who has sat through the trial can see the prosecution has struggled to prove his case. And I told you there was a lot of ridiculousness thrown in on purpose. If you don't think that's part of the PR campaign, if you don't think that he almost had a vagina is part of the PR campaign to discredit, to have the people up there that had a sexual relationship with him after he raped them, again, you're not paying attention. But it will be a well overdue check on the power of the Me Too movement that was spawned by the Weinstein case and which depends on his guilt. Now here's the thing. That's spin right there. This is not a well overdue check. A well overdue check was in the very beginning, again, when they didn't name the child predators, when they didn't call out Kevin Spacey, not for coming out as a homosexual, but instead as being a child predator. Okay? That's the thing. I'm going to say it again. And remember, all this stuff starts, what? Before the Epstein stuff. Let's not focus on Bella Thorne's revelations that she was raped as a child for as long as she can remember, from 6 to 14 years old. Let's not talk about those Disney and Nickelodeon producers out there, okay? So the thing was bullshit from the beginning. And to think that Hollywood actresses, number one, in this hive of scum and villainy, also don't manipulate situations, which is what these lawyers have preyed upon, and making him look like an old man in a walker. Then, you're not following. What started as a reasonable comeuppance for a powerful movie producer who preyed on aspiring actresses went too far when it mutated into a toxic feminist movement designed to demonize all men. Well, again, the media did that on purpose because the media is part of this machine that likes human trafficking on that elite level. Billionaires, multimillionaires, they're minions in the predator class that are high-level politicians or celebritards out there. They like being able to buy a prostitute. Some of them like it to be a kid, unfortunately, which could never be a prostitute. No, they like preying on children. And now this moves the goalpost to ridiculous antics where, yes, people react against the Me Too movement because it's fake in the first place, period. Okay, period. Me Too has become a tyranny in its own, a crusade to overturn a mythical patriarchy in which women have no agency or power. So there is a little bit of truth in that, but who did that? The mainstream media did that. So they didn't have to focus on what was going to happen, that this guy was eventually going to get off, that the actual predators were never going to be turned to justice, that the system will move on and on and on. That this guy, again, if you look at Black Cube, and we're going to get there, you can read this 3-part series free in the New Yorker, and it's extensive. You're going to spend a good probably 2 hours if you're really reading through it and going, oh my goodness, and looking up the source material and the side material on this. Of course, it's easy to condemn Weinstein with his grotesque physical appearance, brutish behavior, and self-pity. In fact, I just watched QT8, the first 8 Quentin Tarantino movies. It was a documentary on that. And they couldn't ignore the relationship with Weinstein. And Michael Madsen had something really telling to say. He said, look, I'm going to say the same thing Quentin said. Now, Quentin's not on camera other than archive footage at all in this film. He says, we all knew for a long time, but we just kind of went along with it. And if you don't think that once he gets off, if people in Hollywood are not going, they're going to work with this guy 100%, 100%. $25 million payout through insurance, through the civil cases. Come on. But in a criminal trial proof matters, Weinstein's defense attorney, Donna Rotunno, told the jury, this is not a popularity contest, but you have to remember that we are not here to criminalize morality. Okay? And again, if you look at it, when you look at this stuff, miss you, big guy. She wrote 6 months after he supposedly raped her. Okay? You can see how my good genes are, how good my genes are. I love you. I always do, but I feel like a booty call. I mean, blowing a super rich Hollywood producer. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But here's where the real spin comes in. Shoddy reporting at trial. And to again, attack the press in this case is to try to attack the validity of what Ronan Farrow did to expose his army of spies, to show that they went after, ex-Mossad agents, went after actresses he intimidated. And believe me, he wielded this power. He liked wielding this power. He did things that were absolutely abhorrent. He absolutely, the evidence shows, sexually assaulted people on varying levels, right? But to this day, people are frightened of him because he's going to get off. And those charges that are coming in L.A., he's going to get off of those too. And that's it. And he's going to all of a sudden have a revival where he's fit. And unfortunately, we've allowed this. We've allowed this by not shining a light on the darkness, by not really sharing these stories more and more. For people that don't understand that intelligence in many cases has moved privatized and outwardly for this open mafioso that resides in the entertainment industry, that resides in our major political and religious institutions, that interlocks with one another. Why do you think Epstein had all these guys in his black book? Why do you think he's got pictures with Epstein? It's not a coincidence. Guys, thumbs this video up, subscribe and share. Join the Burmist Brigade. We're doing it 3 to 7 times a day here. In an hour, we're going to go live with Mixed Martial Mindset. Unfortunately, John Fitch is not going to be with us. He's on vacation with his kids, so it's going to be a truncated version. We're doing it 5 times a week exclusively on Rockfin, $9.99 a month. It's a Netflix for creators. Not everybody can just start a channel, but if you endorse Jason Burmist as you join, you get 5 extra videos a week, 20 extra videos a month. I'm really loving this platform. It doesn't censor me. I'm throwing up throwbacks. I throw up other material. Please check it out. All you activists out there, please consider making a video for Julian Assange and sending it to the Action for Assange crew. I'm going to be joining them next week in D.C. It's actually going to be happening. We're streaming from there. And how long I stay there is really up to you guys. If we can get it to maybe like 2,500, maybe I can stay till Wednesday. If not, we're still going to be there for a day or two, streaming, talking to people, being on the ground in D.C., seeing how they feel about this illegal extradition attempt by the U.S. government to criminalize free speech. And again, thumbs up, sub, and share. I'm a documentary filmmaker, guys. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order, Define and Shade the Motion Picture are free right here, right now. Right here, right now. And, yeah, check them out. Share them with your friends. Love you guys. See you on the flip side.